You're at the Watchmen Way, May 2nd, 2020. Yesterday I talked what I've been talking about the last couple of days, being prepared. And we've talked about being physically prepared, spiritually prepared, mentally prepared. Probably the most important part of being mentally prepared is not panicking, no matter what, and running scenarios through your head that will help you with this. Just examples like someone trying to kick in your front door, someone trying to carjack you. Think about those scenarios and how you would handle them. When things go south. If you haven't run these scenarios through your mind, and then it happens, you're going to be surprised how difficult it is sometimes to keep your composure. And what you have to understand is the worst thing you could do in a dangerous situation is panic. No matter what. You've got to take a deep breath and take a second to kind of get your bearings and think about what your move is going to be. If you've run these scenarios through your head, makes it a lot easier to act on instinct instead of having to stop and think, right? Canada bans, I don't know if I think I might have mentioned this yesterday, but bans 1,500 assault weapons. I hope that they don't go door to door in Canada, and I hope that Canadians don't give up their guns. The reason that we're still here, the world is still here, is because of the Second Amendment. That has basically stopped the globalist agenda in their tracks, because they couldn't move forward when America was still armed. Too many guns, too many people, too much ammo. It would have ended badly for them, and it would have ended badly for us too, because millions would have died. There was no easy way out if they came to get our guns. I hope that President Trump sends a strong message to the Canadian government that better not happen. I wouldn't be surprised if militia members from America went across the southern border, their southern border, to come to the defense of the Canadians if this went down. And that's the last thing in the world Canada wants is our militias coming across the southern border into Canada and challenging the Canadian military. I would almost hope that President Trump would threaten military force if they started down that road. I don't think it'll be allowed either way. I think one way or another it's going to stop, whether it's, from just the people of maybe both countries, or if it's the Canadians with, the support of President Trump telling Trudeau he better back down, because this guy's going to be executed anyway. This guy's a pedophile. He's going down with that crew. Iran breaks through U.S.-led blockade to deliver record amounts of oil to Syria. My question is, what we're going to find out about Syria was, the American people, America, had no beef with Syria. Uh, this was part of the plan, the globalist plan to destabilize the Middle East. It was the only reason they were taking Syria down. Syria is one of the very few countries, might be the only country in the Middle East, where Catholics and Muslims were living side by side with no conflicts. I think it was the only country in the Middle East. So I wouldn't be surprised if President Trump isn't letting those tankers through, just so there's less pressure on the Syrian people, because they got stuck in the middle here, and you know the Syrian government really did too, because you know when you compare Syria to all the other Middle Eastern countries, they're light years ahead in every way you can imagine. Human rights violations, you know, they seem to have it together, or had it together, until the globalists basically tore their country apart. I think we'll have a different relationship with Syria over the next few years. Hopefully that whole thing's going to calm down. Key findings. Bombshell government dossier on China and their bat virus. You know, we've been talking a little bit about China and the biolab and Gates and Soros and the World Health Organization. There's a lot of coincidences, and so what it looks like was the plan was, there's something going on with this vaccine. The virus was engineered or used as a means to get the public to demand vaccinations for everyone. That's not going to happen. That's still their plan. The globalist plan is basically what it is. You know, I believe that there possibly could have been a connection between the 5G, possibly, and the virus. The only thing I'm not sure about, it's clear that Soros and Gates and the World Health Organization were working with the biolab in Wuhan. Soros and Gates own a piece of that lab. The question is, were they dealing honestly with Gates and Soros and the World Health Organization, or were they, and I'm kind of leaning this way, or were they secretly working behind the scenes with President Trump, setting up the globalist? So think about this. There's two scenarios how this could have played out. Number one, the Chinese could have, well, and so we know the plan. They were going to try and vaccinate the world using the virus as an excuse. So China could have gone to America as a way, kind of an olive branch. You know, listen, without America, China's screwed. They need our dollars. They need our economy. If America's destroyed, China isn't far behind. because they need us to generate that revenue to keep those 1.2 billion plus people fed in China. We're seeing now the results of China with a bad economy, and the people aren't going to stand for it for very long. So it's possible that China came to President Trump with a heads up. Hey, this is what these guys are planning. The other possibility is that President Trump went to China and said, okay, I know what's going on. You get on board with what we want, or there's going to be hell to pay. And China can't afford that either. That, to me, maybe makes the most sense, is that again, President Trump's been 10 steps ahead of these guys the whole way. They know what their plans are. It wouldn't surprise me at all if President Trump went to China and said, okay, guys, the jig's up. I know what was going on here. You got two choices. Either you turn on these guys and play along with how I want this to go, or there's going to be hell to pay. And at this point, we could crush the Chinese economically. And they're damn sure not going to try and invade us. It's a no-win for them. If we get in a war with China, they lose either way. If they win the war, they lose because they can't support their country without the U.S. economy. And if you destroy America and the U.S., you destroy the economy. There's no good way for this to go, except to play along and go along with what President Trump wants, and then still having our economy there, obviously. Then they're on the inside track with us, and it's a much better relationship. I'm kind of leaning that's the way this thing went down, but there's definitely a lot going on behind the scenes the last year between us, China, World Health Organization, Gates and Soros, and this biolab. The way it's playing out looks to me like President Trump might have got him to turn on the deep state. We'll see. So at this point, I mean, I wouldn't call it 100%, but I think at this point, we're more on board with China than we have been in a long time. And that's a good thing, especially if they're cooperating, right? Yeah, and the one thing about that dossier, they, and again, this could have all been part of the plan, but they really covered this thing up. And again, it could be that's the way it was supposed to work out, but I think we'll know here in the next couple of months. A lot of talk, a lot of talk about President Trump being on Air Force One today in the air. There's been a lot of talk about Nasera. There's been a lot of talk about Jassera. There's been a lot of talk about a reset. Some of these scenarios, President Trump would be in the air on Air Force One, just like they do in most emergency situations. It kind of keeps him mobile, so the enemy has no way of knowing where to attack if they're after President Trump. I think there's some, based on Q, what's going on with Q, his drops, their drops, based on a lot of things, it looks like this might be a big week. Again, I don't, the timing of this isn't as important as the fact that it's happening. We all wish this would get over with, that they would drain the swamp and get this thing moving, and so we can kind of get moving forward again and get into maybe a recovery phase, put this behind us. But there's a certain way this has to play out. There are certain things that have to be checked off to make sure that this goes the way we need it to go. The timing is probably the most important part of this. So I have, come to grips with this is going to happen when it happens. We can't control it. We can analyze and we can, project what we think is coming, but we're not calling the shots. So it's speculation, right? We have to do those things because we have to be ready virtually every day now. I mean, I think that's really the key to this. The economy is the worldwide economy is so compromised right now. This could go down any day. At least the economy part of this. And we've basically got the three elements. We've got the economy, worldwide economy, collapsing. We've got the worldwide swamp being drained, and the satanic pedophile network being exposed. This could be a big week. If it's not, I think every week is a big week based on the progress we're making. It's just that most people aren't digging deep enough to get it, right? If you're just watching Fox, you're not going to understand what's happening in the world because they're not telling you the whole story. I think they know most of the whole story, but they're not being allowed to tell. The combination of, who owns Fox and, the deep state still running mainstream media. We just deal with it, right? It's to be expected. The deep state, again, look up Project Mockingbird. But since the Second World War, the deep state has been gaining more control over the mainstream media. Until today, they basically have 100% control over the mainstream media. And then that's the next question is, when is President Trump going to drop the hammer on the mainstream media? Eventually, I think he seizes control. I kind of thought that would be through the 3 days of darkness. I'm wondering if we're even going to have 3 days of darkness now. I think things may have gone so well that maybe we don't need 3 days of darkness, that we're ahead of schedule maybe. I know that a lot of troops went home in the last couple of days unexpectedly, and I think more are going to be going home unexpectedly. Could we be at the end here? Could this be going down this month? Are they really arresting Obama and Clinton and the rest of them? I do not see, it's possible, but I don't see how we get to the 2020 election without this going down. We can't keep the economy closed down much longer without creating a big problem for the recovery. They're already saying, forget it. This isn't going to be an easy deal. And the longer that the economy shut down, the harder it's going to be to get it moving again, right? Yeah, just David Stockman. You see him on TV all the time. Big investor. People must get their minds, let's see. People must get their minds around, what people must get their minds around is what's happening is happening with warp speed. Job losses, cash flow losses, GDP being crushed, the federal budget, and what the Fed has done to put us in this spot. It's more off the charts than anything we've seen yet. Early March, the balance sheet for the Fed was at 4.2 trillion. Recently, it was at 6.2 trillion. It's the last few days. So basically, the Fed it's $1 trillion a month is what it's costing the Fed to keep these wheels turning. You can't pour $1 trillion a month into an economic system and not expect that you're going to have hyperinflation pretty quickly. So there's basically three ways this thing goes down. It just collapses, depressionary collapse, the banks go sideways, whatever. I mean, there's countries could go bankrupt. There's 25 triggers that could cause this thing. We keep printing money until we get hyperinflation, and that collapses us. A loaf of bread costs $1 million. People with wheelbarrows of money going to the grocery store. That's going to happen. That's a mathematical certainty if we keep printing this kind of money. Or President Trump declares a reset. Eventually, a reset will be declared. We are in such dire straits economically. There's no recovering from this. This debt, this worldwide record debt, will never be paid back. Eventually, the slate is going to have to be wiped clean. Nobody's going to owe anybody anything. You're going to get your home free and clear. You're going to get your car free and clear. That is, if you had contracts for those items, you were making payments on those items, you're going to get those items free and clear. You're going to lose your bank account, 401k, pension fund, stocks, bonds. Anything on paper is going to zero. It's going to be a trade-off. It's a great trade-off if you know it's coming. And you can insure yourself against your losses by buying physical silver and Litecoin. God showed them to me in 2014 when he called me to warn about all these things that are happening right now. There's a reason he showed me physical silver and Litecoin. He wants us to use the profits from those investments to lay down the foundation of his church, the revival of his church, which is the way, which is the church that Jesus taught 2,000 years ago when he was here. Never adopted by the elites because they couldn't control it. Most pure form of religion in the world. That's what the silver and the Litecoin is all about. It's about giving his people control of the economic systems in the world and about building the foundation of his church. At the same time, we're eradicating 90% of the evil in the world. That's how we get heaven on earth. That's how we get the greatest transfer of wealth in human history. That's how we get man's greatest accomplishment of defeating this evil that's ruled over us since Babylon. It's how we get 1,000 years, peace and prosperity. Man's greatest age. It's coming. Nothing can stop it now. The question is, what kind of position are you going to be in when this all happens? Are you going to be in a position of power with Litecoin and silver, and which translates into a different future for your family and you, and your part in building the foundation of the way? This is happening. The people that are on board are going to reap God's gifts. These are gifts from God. That I was 47 something Litecoin was before I came on, under $48 before I came on. It's going to be 3 million, some analysts believe, 3 million apiece by 2024 in less than 4 years. Think about that. It's life-changing. Almost everybody can come up with $50. I mean, if you come up with 20 or 25, that's over 1 million. Don't miss out on this opportunity. I can't tell you for sure when this whole thing's going to crash, but I can tell you it's going to crash. This year, certainly, neither the globalists aren't going to let this thing go to the election. They will collapse this economy before the election. I've said that for months now. And it makes sense because it's the only chance they have, and it's really no chance, but it's the only chance they believe they have to get President Trump out of office, is to take him out in this next election. It's not going to happen. President Trump's going to win 90% of the vote. The only uncertainty is how many Americans are going to take advantage of this information. How many Americans are going to be on the ground floor of this thing, of cryptocurrencies, which are the future of money, make banks obsolete at a time when the world is going to hate banks. Make no mistake about it. Within the next 6 months, by the end of this year, the world will detest banks. Will never want to put another penny in a bank because of the part they played in the destruction of the world's economy. New York City dispatches 1,000 cops to keep New Yorkers from barbecuing today. Does that make sense? That's what they're doing. This is just another example of globalist politicians overstepping their bounds. Absolutely no reason to do this. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to help anybody. It's certainly not addressing the problem, the real problems here. And they have nothing to do with the flu, which is basically what this is. When you look at the mortality rates, this is nothing more than the flu. And the other thing is, I saw this morning, last night maybe, the CDC is reevaluating their numbers, and it looks like the death rate today is half of what it was a couple of days ago, because they're getting caught in all of these mislabeled virus deaths that turned out to be heart attacks and botched surgeries and on and on and on. But the death rate's half of what the CDC's been saying it is. Okay, let's see what we got for questions. Gary, how you doing? Jen, hello. Tita's asking if I think John F. Kennedy faked his death, and what do I think about the files on his kidnapping. I'm not sure about the kidnapping files. I haven't really had a chance to look at them. I believe 90% that JFK Jr. is still alive. And I believed what happened was that white hats went to him and told him that the Clintons / globalists were going to kidnap or assassinate him because they knew Hillary couldn't beat him. And in 99, that's the year that they were going to meet for the seat that Hillary eventually won, New York Senator. So I think this was a continuation of the plan that I think started after the Second World War. But for sure, at this point, they put a plan in motion that we're seeing the culmination of now, 20 years later. Again, you can't make this stuff up. So I do think he's alive. I do think if he is alive, I think he's going to replace Pence and be the vice presidential candidate for 2020. And obviously, if that happens, you know where we go from here. We get 8 years of JFK Jr. and then probably 8 years of one of the Trump kids. And we've got, probably over 30 years of momentum to keep this thing going. So it's all good, guys. Just think about, you have to remember, put into perspective, I don't think a lot of the young people today realize, JFK Jr. was a rock star. He was not only a rock star, he was Democratic royalty to be in that family, right? Think about him now being a Democrat and coming forward and telling his story. Not just his story, but who murdered his father, why he had to go underground. Bush 41. I'm telling you, Bush 41, I believe, is going to go down in history as being even more evil than Hitler. And most of that's going to be because he had a lot more, 3 or 4 times the years to accomplish all of his evil deeds. Tina, how you doing? Kevin, what's up? Yeah, I don't even watch Fox anymore, guys. It's a waste of time. Waste of time. Even Hannity. You can watch Hannity. It's an hour show. You'll get 5 minutes of anything of any value, if you're lucky. And not knocking Hannity, his hands are tied. He can't say what he wants to say or they'll fire him. President Trump will take control of the media. I don't think there's any question about that. David, how you doing? David shared the chat with 14 sites. Good job, David. Kevin, Kathleen, how you guys doing? Judy, what's up? Gary, what's up? Liz, how you doing? Troy, what's up? Wade, what's going on down under? Tessie 2, how you doing? Danielle, hello. Q just dropped 26. He had 26 drops today. That's a lot of drops. Something's going down, guys. If President Trump is in the air right now, something's definitely going on. Cindy Lou, how you doing? Raina, hello. Dennis, what's up? Danielle. The Dems are Kathy saying the Dems are transitioning Biden. Well, they know Biden he's just a place sitter, I think. He gets, listen, if we didn't do anything, right? We didn't take the swamp down. We didn't expose the pedophiles. And let's say the economy collapsed, because they're going to collapse it no matter what. The deep state, the globalist will. I still think President Trump wins with 75% of the vote if we go that route. Listen, Biden's a moron, a pedophile and a moron. He's going to hang at some point for treason, for murdering children. I think as a last-ditch effort, even though she would have Michael Obama, might be the one they throw out there. Although, here's the thing. Michael Obama could be in Gitmo before the election. Biden, for sure, should be in Gitmo before the election. Bernie, probably in Gitmo before the election. Hillary, gone. Who are they going to put up there? What moron are they going to trot out for this slaughter? Like I said, the Democratic Party's done. This will be, and who knows, there might not be a Democratic Party for this election. Shirley, what's up? Randy. All right, we'll cut Randy some slack. Devin, what's up? Cody. Litecoin's at 49. Well, so when I was doing my outline at 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock, it was 37 something, I think, Litecoin was. I checked it, right? 49.33 now. This, get your Litecoin, guys. This might be it. If this keeps going up, if it's over 50 and climbing tomorrow, be ready for next week. Joanne, don't get ahead of yourself here. Everything's going to be fine. This isn't 3 million. This isn't 3 million in Litecoin, guys. This is $3 million. Oh boy. All right. Oh boy. We got the dog show going on now. It's Wyatt. What's up, Wyatt? Wyatt doesn't know what's going on. Poor thing. Now you've seen them all. Zoe, Wyatt, and Poppy. Okay. Now where was I? So what was I talking about? What was it?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Going on 50 by next week.
Yeah. So big things, I think, coming, guys. Yeah, and listen, what we don't want is, we don't want anybody to get off. We don't want any more people to lose their lives than have to. So the reason this thing's taken so long is because these guys were so powerful. They had nuclear weapons. They had bioweapons when President Trump first took office. If he would have rolled out and tried to arrest these guys the first month or two, it would have been a bloodbath. With their attacks on Americans, and I think also that a lot of liberals would have misread the situation and panicked and tried some kind of revolt. So it could have been a really bad way to go. Trust me, even though it's taken longer than anyone would have wanted it to, it's been the best way to do this. And we just need to hang in there. It's almost over. We're almost to the end. I'll guarantee you, before the election comes, before the end of the year, there will be big arrests. And I think, listen, if they're going to take these people down, they can't do it too close to the election. So I think, and I've been saying now for months that they had to get this done before summer. I mean, June, they could get into June and still be okay. I don't think they would go much further than, say, mid-June. I would hopefully, if they were going to do this before the election, they do it this month. They do it in May. And I think it may have already started. We'll see. Well, because when they start taking these people down, it's going to be, I think, for security reasons and communication reasons is why Trump. And then with the Nassara thing, that's a whole nother set of issues to deal with. So there's a lot going on right now. But what I'm saying is if he's in the air, be on your toes. Michael, how you doing? Kathy heard something going on in the China Sea. Well, you know, China's been pushing that narrative. You know, they control the South China Sea. They just basically built an island there. Don't worry about Iran. Don't worry about China. Don't worry about North Korea. There's really nothing to worry about, nothing to fear. It's just a timing thing. When is it going to happen? Thanks, Devin. Well, there could be, if that 3 days of darkness I was just talking about, if POTUS is in the air and this is happening, we could get the 3 days of darkness. Don't be panicked if the internet doesn't work, if the TV is off, if the radio's off. That's a good thing if that happens, guys. Deborah, how you doing? What about Cuomo? Cuomo's part of the swamp. Cuomo will be executed. I think both the governor and his his brother or, the CNN anchor, he's going down too. Don Lemon, Jake Tapper, going down. Believe they're all going to be executed. Kevin heard that there was a threat on President Trump's life. They took him to Camp David. It doesn't surprise me a bit. You can bet they're threatening his life every single day. Allie, Michael, how you doing? Stephanie wants to know anything bad about Sarah Palin. I believe Sarah Palin is a patriot. I believe she's 100% on board with President Trump. We'll see. I think Litecoin may be starting a run here. We'll see. Next week could be big. Don't wait, guys. Get your Litecoin and silver. Get it this weekend. This could go down Monday. Stephanie wants to know if the 5-5 in Vincent Fusca's video give any indication of significance for May 5th. May 5th has been popping up a lot. So I would be ready for anything. All week I'd be ready for anything. Kathy, how you doing? Sunday, Monday. Yeah, keep an eye out, guys. Lena's youngest daughter got her Litecoin today. Good job, Lena. Carolyn, how you doing? Buy low, sell high. So anyway, somebody asked a question about Litecoin, and so basically, what the answer's saying, it's $3 million in today's dollars, right? That's the way they figured it. Now we're going to have a whole different dollar when, in 4 years. We're going to have a gold-backed currency in 4 years. I would anticipate it's going to be worth 3 million of those dollars in 4 years. So it's all good. In other words, it's not going to be hyperinflated $3 million, right? Kevin heard Tom Hanks' death is going to be announced on the 5th. Heck, I heard, well, it was probably a spoof, but I heard it announced today. Silver was at just under $16 last time I checked. And listen, what the prices are today are irrelevant. It's what they're going to be after this thing blows up. Excuse me. That's when we're going to start seeing the gains that we're looking for. I don't expect any big moves until right before this thing blows up. When all the big money who knows what's coming pours it into the cryptocurrencies and precious metals. JW, what's up? Yeah, anybody who has any questions, Silver, Litecoin, programming your ledger, Gemini, Coinbase, get a hold of Kevin, please. Kevin Owens. His phone number is 702-325-9258. Yeah, that's what I saw. Shirley's talking about a Australian newspaper that printed was supposed to be a May 4th that Hanks was dead. Kind of interesting. Well, July 4th of last year was the day that the new revolution started. That was on July 4th. Oh, hey, listen. I'm guesstimating that 70% of the population doesn't really know what's going on. I think of that 70%, there might be 15 to 20% who has kind of an inkling that something's not right, but they're not really sure what's going on. Serena, what's up? Yeah. Cindy's talking about aftercare support network for the healthcare workers who are dealing with these kids that are taken out of these deep underground bases. There's some horrific stuff coming out. These are the same people who've supported this crap that were, supporting PETA and, these people are sick. Disgusting. They're monsters. Jeff, how you doing? Stores in Wisconsin are making people buy their mask and wear them before entering. Not in the West. I think, well, forget California. But in Arizona, it looks like we're going to be opening up this next week, at least partially. I think the retail stores are opening on Monday, I think. And then I think it's the 14th that everything's going to open. That's tentatively, I think. Litecoin, get it at Coinbase.com or Gemini.com. Lance, get a hold of Kevin Owens, and he'll help you through the process. Yeah, places are starting to run out of silver, and there's places, they're dealers who aren't selling silver anymore because they know what's coming, and they know we're almost there. My daughter Rory, what's up, Rory? Serene, do you have an excuse for being late? You don't want to go to detention. Yeah, I heard that. Trump's supposed to come, POTUS's supposed to come to Arizona on Wednesday to visit Honeywell. It's got to be around Phoenix. Kevin's saying Madonna's death's going to be announced with Tom Hanks. Devin's wanting to know, shouldn't they have been doing this a long time ago? Devin, you have to listen to what I'm saying. We couldn't do it a long time ago. President Trump just took office in January of 17. He's destroyed 300 years of globalist advances in 3 years to get us to this point. If he would have tried to take these monsters down in the first part of his presidency, millions of people around the world would have died. Because the deep state of America, enemies of America, had bioweapons, they had nuclear weapons, and they were threatening to use them if President Trump arrested anybody. Now do you understand why it's taken so long? Because they were trying to do the best thing they could for America and the world. And I'm telling you, they're going to study this for thousands of years. The way they planned this, the way they carried out the plan, it's been brilliant. Flawless. God's hands are all over this because operations that are this complicated don't go off this well, ever. Something always goes wrong. Something always screws up the plan. It's been flawless. God's hands are all over this. You can't do something this perfect, this perfectly, without God's hands on it. I think by this 4th of July, the whole thing's over with. That's what I think, this coming 4th of July. We'll see. Dallas from Montana, how you doing? We will see JFK Jr. eventually. Again, if he's alive, and I think he's alive. Deborah saw where Madonna wished she had not sold her soul. All of these people, guys, what you have to understand, everybody who's part of the satanic pedophile network, these celebrities, these newscasters, they've all sold their soul for their success. They made a deal with the devil. Not going to end well for them. They got their success, but at what cost? Yeah, the deep state is done. Barbara, how you doing? Yeah, I'm ready for a haircut too, Ron. I've been ready for about 3 weeks. Joanne's talking about the bill that Bill Hank Johnson put out. No. Keep stacking silver and Litecoin for as long as you can. Keep pushing right up until the end, guys. Honeywell and Chandler, hey, he's only like 10 miles from me. Think President Trump's going to stop by for our live chat this week? That'd be something, huh? He's going to be here. You're invited, President Trump. You are welcome here anytime. Allie, how you doing? Uh, Carbon 60. Get it at Amazon. This stuff ranges from $20 for a 100 ml bottle up to $80 for a 100 ml bottle. I use good and cheap Carbon 60 and olive oil. It's the least expensive. It's $20. It's $19.99 at Amazon. One bottle, a 100 ml bottle, lasts you 1 week. 15 ml a day, you'll get a week out of that bottle. And you want to try it at least 6 weeks, guys. And it takes about a week to get it. So I'd probably order, 6 or 8 bottles to start with if you're going to do this. Amazing stuff, guys. I've been on it for over 5 years. Changed my life. No, you don't need your ledger to get your Litecoin. You want to buy your Litecoin even before you get your ledger. That's the most important thing, to get your Litecoin bought. You can transfer it later. We've got a month at least to transfer Litecoin. You may only have a day or two to buy Litecoin. So get it bought, get as much bought as you can. Any money you leave in the bank, you're going to lose. Don't leave it in the bank. Well, Fauci, Fauci's eventually going down with the swamp. When that's going to happen, I would say probably sometime in the next couple of weeks, but it's going to happen. Yeah, the White House blocked Fauci from testifying. That's standard procedure. Um, that's not a big deal. Yeah, it'd be something. Are you kidding me? Litecoin just hit $50? Is that right? If Litecoin just hit $50, what? Where were we? Where were we? Am I losing my spot here? Hold on a second. That's right. Okay. I was thinking 60. That's still pretty good, guys. It's gone up $3 in the last couple of hours. That's a big move. Keep an eye on it, guys. You might see this roll through the weekend. If it does, I think big things are coming next week. If you see Litecoin continually rising through the weekend and into the first part of next week, I think something big's coming next week. Wait a minute. Okay, what was that? Okay, so Devin's asking about the FDIC insurance. So here's the dirty secret about FDIC insurance. Yeah, you've got FDIC insurance. They've got a certain amount in that fund. They've already done the math. When this system comes down, based on the amount of deposits in the banks right now today, you're going to get 3 cents on the dollar. That's what you're going to get. That's how much they have in that fund. So yes, you do have FDIC insurance. You're not going to be happy with it when you get it. Get your Litecoin and silver. Get your money out of the bank. You've been warned. You lose your money in the bank now, it's all on you. There's no reason for this to happen. You can put your dollars into Litecoin, and I've gone over this 100 times in the last several months. I can make a transaction. If I make a transaction by 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday, the money from that transaction will be in my account by 2:30 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. So you don't need money in the bank to operate. You can use Coinbase as your secondary account. I think it works the same way with Gemini. I don't have a Gemini account. Kevin will be able to answer those questions for you, and I'm pretty sure you can do the same thing in Gemini. Use your Litecoin as your secondary account. It's a perfect situation for people who have to have some cash if you've got a business or a lot of bills you need to pay during the month. Then you can pull it out as you need it. There are transaction fees, cost you a couple of dollars a transaction. But as opposed to losing it, it works out much better for you. When cryptos and silver and gold start going up consistently, steadily, again, if it continues like this through the weekend into Monday, be ready next week. Graviola tea, you can get it at Amazon. Colloidal silver, get from Mike Janman, a fraction of what it cost at GNC. He produces it himself. Coronavirus, biggest hoax well, it's not the biggest hoax. I would give that hoax award to the Fed. But it's up there, the coronavirus. Brought down the worldwide economy. And don't make no mistake, the economy is finished. Yeah, Coinbase, I think, got overwhelmed in Australia yesterday. Something's up, guys. Something's happening. Shai, how you doing? You're welcome. Devin, you're welcome. Boom, week ahead. Coming from Q. Okay, guys. That looks like that's all the questions. Again, day by day, we've got to be positive. That's the other thing, too. Talking about being mentally prepared. A positive attitude will get you through anything. You just got to stick with it. You keep pushing forward, Keep being positive. Good things are going to happen. As far as this next week, be ready. Be ready every day. Get your Litecoin, get your silver this weekend if you can. Get your money out of the bank. Anything in paper you can get your money out of, get it out. You're going to lose it if you don't. All paper assets are going to go to zero at some point in the future. Don't lose any more than you have to. Make that money work for you. Instead of letting it go, get it out, get it into silver and Litecoin. You got nothing to lose and a lot to gain. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there with our prayer, the Watchmen prayer. For God and country, amen. We'll see you tomorrow night at 5 Pacific. God bless.